The king approached the monk and said, "Sir, I have been asking the same question for 20 years, but nobody has been able to help me. Will you help me? I want to meet God. I don't know how, but I want to meet him. Can you assist me?" The monk smiled and replied, "Sure. Do you want to meet God now or after a while?" The king was surprised and replied, "Sorry, sir, maybe you did not understand. I am talking about the supreme power. I want to meet God." The monk understood and asked, "Do you want to meet God now or after some time?" The king was surprised that no one had asked him such a question before. He gathered his courage and said, "Well, I want to meet God now. Please help me to meet him." The monk then asked the king to write his name and address on a piece of paper so that he could convey to God who he was. After reading the paper, the monk said, "King, all these things that you have written on this paper seem to be false and untrue." The king was confused and replied, "But sir, all that I have written is true." The monk then asked the king if he would change his consciousness, being, or personality if he changed his name. The king thought for a moment and replied, "No, sir. How can I change by changing my name? My body and my consciousness will remain the same." The monk then asked if the king's identity was tied to his kingdom. The king replied that even if he were to lose his kingdom and become a beggar, his body and consciousness would remain the same. The monk then asked about the king's age, and the king replied that he was 40 years old. The monk then asked if he would become someone else after turning 50, or if he was someone else when he was a child. The king replied that his body changed, but he remained the same inside. The monk then explained that the king's true identity was not tied to his name, kingdom, body, or age. He asked the king to write down his true identity if he wanted to meet God. The king admitted that it was difficult, and he did not know who he was beyond these things. The monk explained that it was essential to know oneself before meeting God. When we attach ourselves to our body and mind, we become subject to pleasure and pain, and our true identity, consciousness, is beyond both of these emotions. Joy is our true nature, and we seek happiness because we are embodiments of happiness. When we are troubled by difficulties or in sorrow, we should remember our true identity and dive into our self of bliss. By doing so, we will find that our sorrows will vanish immediately.